Find yourself a booth, order up a cold one. This is the Spring Bar. When bad guys wake up dripping with sweat because I heard something go bump in the night, it's because of the men and women like our upcoming interviewee. He is the squid that did, the seaman that kept steaming, the man with the plan, Jason from At Watch Rolling. We'll talk about how long Jason's been collecting, what his heirloom pieces are or might be, favorite timepieces, what got him started in collecting, and most of all, we're going to discuss how his time in the military shaped his perspective on watch collecting and the types of watches he's drawn to. And then we'll wrap everything up by talking about his awesome website, watchrolling.com, where he'll put out articles about watch collecting from the perspective of a new collector. And he has plenty of resources for veterans, all linked on his website. As always, I'd like to remind you to share your drink and wrist checks by hashtagging the Spring Bar Podcast. Remember, the drinks don't have to be alcoholic, but you have to be fun. Hey everyone, thanks for joining us today. I'm Casey, and I'm joined by two random guys I met on the internet, Florida Mike and Joe in the OC. Gentlemen, how are you guys?
Hey Casey, how's it going? Joe, how you doing?
Yeah.
Again,
Good.
man, a few words. We're gonna have to work on your introduction there, Joe.
Yeah,
Consistency. Consistency is key, man.
That's what happens when you get some random guy off the street.
100%. We need better casting here.
Yeah.
Well, hey guys, so does anyone have a new watch? And I'm not going to bring up my additional wait list that I'm on now. It's 3 ADs that are hopefully going to bless me with the opportunity to crap money for them.
All right. So, Mike, you got anything new?
I do. Am I going first today?
You go first.
All right. So we kind of hinted at it last time that that grossly gorgeous looking Vostok, it's finally here.
Ooh.
So
okay, list the colors on the dial. Not what they're supposed to be, what they actually are.
Oh, here's what we're going to have to do. When we do the editing of the pictures in, we're going to have to put a picture of what it's supposed to look like and what it looks like now.
What it actually looks like.
Because I found a photo, and this thing is supposed to be black
Right.
bezel, black dial, and it is now a purple dial, which the paint is missing from the markers outward towards the bezel, and the bezel is a very nice shade of blue. The loom on the hands is rusty. It has a incorrect second hand. It's a red second hand, but it still works. I put it on a purple strap because what else would you match a purple dial and blue bezel with? But it's fantastic. I love wearing this thing. It's pretty awesome.
Bro, I love when things, air quotes, patina to a stance like that. It changes the watch entirely. That's great.
It does.
Yeah, you have to. Did I put the picture of it in the chat? Did you see what it looked like, Casey?
Yeah, it looks great,
yeah.
dude.
This thing has lived a life. I wish I knew what it went through to get this way.
Stalin and all that.
Yeah,
Probably.
Who knows?
Logs.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was in someone's prison wallet in a gulag. That's what
Oh,
like.
Wow.
But Joe, do you have anything?
Yes, I do, and it's not quite the same.
No.
I do got some patina. I have a Bulova chronograph. No designation. This was the gray dial with a blue bezel. The blue bezel is just ghosted. It's gorgeous, man. It turned out.
Listen, the jealousy is real with this piece. I love that one.
Yeah. It's missing the loom pip, which isn't, that's okay. I can probably work around that.
Forgive that.
And then I got
Sharpie
this one in yesterday. Little She Devil.
Mm-hmm.
That I may throw that onto another Perlon strap and have like a dual time thing going on. So that's all.
Did you measure that? What's the case width on that? Do you know?
I have no idea. About the size of a quarter.
Do you still not have calipers?
No. What do I need calipers for? It's about that big. It's like that.
Okay.
Even.
I'm going to send you some calipers, Joe.
Yeah.
But hey, so for me, it is 36 millimeters, has a 369 dial, and been to Everest.
All right.
It is not a Rolex though. It's this guy right here.
All right.
What are we looking at? Oh, that's pretty cool.
The freaking Smiths, man.
Yeah.
So I got this from our mutual friend, our first interviewee, Ghost and Crown. Sent this over. I sent him my lunar, just for us to both check them out. So I got to be careful.
Your lunar pilot, was it?
Back, but it's just pretty cool.
That's cool, man.
So that was your lunar pilot he was wearing?
Yeah.
Yep. I didn't feel right letting, or like, 'cause I asked him, I was like, hey, can I borrow this? And I was like, hey, if you're willing to do that, I'll send you one of my watches, just because I feel like that's, fair.
Well, it's funny because I commented on his post. I said, I wish I knew somebody that would loan me their lunar pilot, but as it turns out, I do.
You kind of do.
Yeah. And actually, I mean, yeah, if you want to check that after, I really don't mind sending it over.
I love the way those look. I've never seen one in person. So
oh, really?
Yeah, never. I've never seen one in person.
But yeah, dude, I'll definitely send it over. I got no issue with that.
All right. I'll take you up on that.
But so on tap today, we have the squid that did Jason from at Watch Rolling.
There he is.
Voila.
That was a great intro. How you guys doing?
Jason, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. It looks like he's already gotten started. He's pre-gamed. I still haven't opened mine yet.
Yeah.
You trying to do that ASMR thing again?
Of course. That's kind of, my thing, I guess.
Well, all right. So we want to go into our wrist and drink checks. And as our guest, how about you take point here, Jason?
Oh, thanks. Well, we'll start with the watch. I'm wearing my, does it come in focus? My Zen 105 UTC.
That's beautiful. I like that one.
That's a nice handset.
Yeah.
Oh man, this thing's cash money. I love this thing. It's super light. The bead blasted case is really nice. And it has that tegmented steel. Yeah, bezel. It's what I would call matte perfection. Like if you ever see one, everything's really matte and subtle about it, and it's just really, really handsome.
What strap do you have that on? It's NATO, yeah, but is it like the seatbelt stuff?
It's a gray seatbelt set NATO from
I love those, man.
Horology. I don't know if you know who Standard Time is on Instagram. I got some NATO straps from him. They're super soft, man, super comfortable. But every single one of his straps, I have a 7.5-inch wrist. It's crazy. Most NATO straps, like it never feels right on one of the two holes where it should feel right.
Right.
It's always either too loose or it's too tight. I don't know if he did something different. I haven't measured it. I probably should. But like there's a perfect hole in all of them. And it just sits there.
That's high praise, man.
Yeah. I don't know if it was, I should have asked him, like, did you scientifically figure this out? Like, did you consult with people? And they're super soft, man. And this thing's super light. I forgot I weighed it somewhere. It's in one of my books, but you know it's there, but it's not like a constant reminder that it's there.
Yeah. It's not uncomfortable over time.
No, and its profile is thin enough, you can see on my wrist.
Yeah.
Like even with this NATO, you could wear it with a button-down shirt if you had to, and I think it's just clean enough of a design and not so busy that you could probably wear it with a suit if you really wanted to. I don't have the bracelet. That's my big regret. I should have got it with the bracelet.
Always
I know,
bracelet,
I know,
right?
Man. I should punch myself in the face. But yeah, I know. I was thinking about it after. I was like, why didn't I get the bracelet, you moron? But that's what I'm wearing.
So the tegmented is at least on the U50 and all that, is that you can get a non-tegmented and then one that is. Is there an option to not?
I didn't see that option for this model.
Okay. And how long have you had that watch?
Man, maybe 4 or 5 months.
Okay.
I think.
So how do you think the tegmented process is holding up there?
Well, I mean, dude, like I ain't out like punching trees with this thing or anything. So it's doing pretty well. It's doing pretty good so far. But but I've had enough experience in industrial environments. Like I think that I really feel like if you wore this thing, like if you were out in the field, like, you know, if you're in the Army or something on a ship in the Navy, I really think this thing could handle that abuse. And with the bead blasted case, I think if you did pick up a nick or something like that, like it's not as glaring as something polished or like ceramic where you'd see that scratch so visibly, you know? But it's subtly solid, if that makes any sense. You know, like, cause I have some other pieces like my Marathon, there's nothing subtle about that. This thing's, you know, you could bash someone in the face in a self-defense situation and probably knock their teeth out with that thing. I'm sure you could with this thing too, but this doesn't feel like that. This just feels like a well-balanced tool. Like if you have like a knife or something and there's like good balance on it. Yeah. That's what this watch. Yeah. It's just honed in a lot. So yeah, I love it.
Hell yeah, man.
What's in the glass?
Oh, what's in the glass? So I'm not paid by Southern Tier Brewing, but there's a brewery me and my wife found, Southern Tier. They're out of upstate New York, which is odd name, Southern Tier. Like, I don't know. But this is their Nitro Hot Cocoa Imperial Milk Stout, part of their Blackwater series.
Oh, yeah.
Bro, now let me tell you something. If you guys ever see this one and it says s'mores on it, just buy it. Just buy it. You open this one's delicious. It tastes like hot cocoa, but without being fake sweet. So it's got it's got like good cocoa taste, and you know, you get a little bit of a roastiness in there, but there's no fake sweet. But it's got like, if you licked a hot cocoa packet, like a really good one, that's what it tastes like. And but their s'mores one, the first time me and my wife had one, we cracked it open, and bro, you could smell the graham cracker like from the can.
That's nice.
Oh my gosh, it's so good. And then they have a creme brulee one. My wife loves that one. I'm not a big creme brulee guy, but it tasted like creme brulee. It's crazy. So if you see any of the Southern Tier Nitro Stout series, I highly recommend them. See, it's a good little color.
See, and I'm not a stout guy, but you're selling it pretty good. I may have to try it.
Yeah, and
we got to make sure we tag them in this, so that way, you know, maybe the 6-pack can come your way.
Oh, yeah.
Affiliate link below.
What's the percentage on that?
10%.
Okay.
Wow. Yeah.
That'll do.
And they do their bitterness on a low to moderate scale. So I'm thinking it's probably around 15 to 20 IBUs. If I was to do an IBU number, the International Bitterness Unit. But I'll tell you another one real quick. And Casey might be able to find this one. If you see anything from what's the name of it now? Now I forgot it. They do this Nephology series of IPAs, and they're all like 20, 15, 10 IBUs, but it's centered around the study of clouds. So they're all hazy IPAs. The name will come to me before we get done with the podcast, and I'll tell you. Those things are fantastic too, man. But this one, pretty good because it's cold outside, so go with the stout.
Very cool. Who's next? KC, why don't you go?
Me. So I am still trying to cut out all sorts of alcohol because height and weight is a biatch. So I'm drinking my Diet Pepsi, but I've got my banging podcast glass here. It's kind of blowing out. But yeah.
Nice.
That's cool. I like that.
And the new watch alert is what's on my wrist now. I got that Everest. And honestly, dude, it's making me feel like, I'm cool with waiting, and two, it might be okay to crap. Well, it's probably not okay to crap that much money on that watch, but you know what? If I get a call for that Rolex, I'm probably going to get it.
Yeah. So that's a 36 as well, you said?
Yeah, dude, it's 36. It's actually, this is the true, like, if you 10/16 size, lug to lug, and all that matches up. The modern one is got a slightly longer lug to lug. So it wears a little larger than the old 36 does. But yeah, dude, I freaking love it, and I'm happy that I was able to borrow it.
Looks good on wrist, man.
Yeah, it's got a good presence.
Have some nice help here. Joe, what do you got, buddy?
So I am wearing not a Bulova. I've got on my dad's Seiko DX. This is, it's got those really funky orange markers. This is the watch I actually remember him wearing. Like he's got a Viceroy Octavia that like sent in the box tops and smoked all the cigarettes in order to get it, paid the $88. And he wears that one a lot. Like he had to get it redone. He was jogging with it and he fell, and Crystal, and that's a whole saga. That's a whole different day. But I remember this one more than anything else. And I am drinking today Devil's Creek Rye from the Mammoth Lakes, California. It is a straight rye whiskey and has an incredibly cool glass stopper rather than like plastic or anything else. And I got this from the last IG Live we did as I was sitting in the parking lot of the Vons.
Oh, is that the one?
Mammoth Lakes. And it is spicy and wonderful, and I highly recommend it, and you will never be able to find it outside of Mammoth Lakes. So, cheers.
Nice.
Very good.
Cheers.
All right. I'll go last.
Go, sir.
To take it off. I am also not wearing a Bulova. I am wearing I couldn't tell you what year it is, but it is I couldn't really even tell you anything about the watch. It's a Sidrus Deluxe Skin Diver. Nice. It ticks all the Skin Diver boxes: the thin case, long lugs, funky dial, minty loom, 5 ATM, manual wind, has everything. And then getting that pour on. Today I'm drinking something local. This is Hidden Springs Ale Works out of Tampa, Florida. This is called Orange Crush. It is nice. a American wheat with wildflower honey and orange peel. All right, Casey, what do we got on tap today?
Well, so we're going to be obviously interviewing Jason here.
I'll take it.
So hey, buddy, how long have you been collecting? And how did that all start?
So I would say around 2019 was like when I seriously got interested in it. I always had, being in the Navy and stuff, I always had G-Shocks and stuff, but I never really had like a real watch, not that that's not a real watch, but something you can wear that's not, rubber and, plastic. And so I was looking up, oh man, like what's some good stuff? And I don't know how I came across, but I came across the Citizen ProMaster, and they had it on sale on Amazon. And so I had looked up a couple of videos and seen some reviews on it, and I thought, oh, it's a pretty serviceable watch. And but that was all kind of like a back thought. I don't think I really paid attention to that. But because when it came in, I was actually kind of shocked by how different that watch felt when I was handling it and just looking at it. I'm like, oh wow, man, like it just felt like a really well-made watch. Because a lot of the stuff if I ever had, I had like a Fossil before. There's a distinct difference between the build qualities of those two kinds of watches.
Just the
in my
case,
opinion.
right? Just the case feeling completely,
Yeah,
I got my metal stuff.
I have my Citizen over here, man. That thing was just like, it's like, oh man, and it's got like a little 4 o'clock crown and, the way the bezel action moved and stuff. And then, so I got really interested in the watch and I started looking up stuff, and I've always been a reader. So I just fell kind of down a rabbit hole. And I think, like most people, I don't know. I think I found TGV's channel on YouTube, and I started watching some of that stuff, and then it was just a deep dive, man. I went, off the deep end, bro. Like I was just like learning about time and how watches are built and made, and so it's kind of I wasn't paying enough attention, I think, when I started to kind of realize what it was specifically that got me interested in watch collecting. But once I got in there, it's just, it's kind of culminated in, I've been reading about watchmaking and all the little intricacies that go involved and the science behind it. And it's just kept me really focused. But since about 2019, and it's like most things I get interested. Oh, go sorry.
You're new at it relatively. I mean, honestly.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah. And I try to have that come across in most of my posts on Instagram and stuff. And that's, we could talk about it later, but like my whole website blog, that's the angle I'm coming from, is that I'm a newish watch collector, and I'm a pretty quick study on most things. I'm a voracious reader. I will learn from multiple different places and take stuff in. So, but it doesn't mean I'm not prone to making mistakes like anybody else. So I believe in learning from my mistakes. So that's part of my whole thing, is like, as I learn, I'd much rather share stuff with newer watch collectors. And I know there are some veterans that become new watch collectors when they retire or get out of the military, because all they've been wearing are like, tactical G-Shock, Casio type things. And, when it comes to your money, like you guys all well know enough now, you can get some very good stuff for some of the prices. And I'm not going to name any of the fashion companies, but some of these fashion companies charge prices, and you can legit get something way better with more provenance and history and character. You know, yeah,
it runs well.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
Keep better time too. Yeah,
yeah, exactly. So relatively new, yeah, I would say.
So is this a solitary hobby for you? Have you just kind of gone on this journey by yourself, or do you have watch friends that egg you on?
So I've made most of my watch friends I've made through through Instagram and the internet. So initially it was just me by myself. But I don't really, like, I've never really been scared to strike up a conversation with anybody. Like, talking's never been a hard spot for me. So I've gotten to make some friends that have other podcasts and stuff like that and talk to them. And I've had some mentors in that area. So I don't know if you guys know the SoCal Watch Reviews podcast. Like, I know Miguel pretty well. Yeah, Miguel's a great dude, man. Him and I talk.
You met them? Or I mean, like,
oh, I've been on their podcast.
Dude, that's what's up. I would love to get connected with those guys.
Oh yeah. I'll introduce you. They're great dudes, man. Like, you know, me and P have chatted a little bit, but me and Miguel talk all the time. But I mean, we're basically from the same place, kind of, and you know, we have some mutual interest and stuff. But you know, Eric from Rico's Watches podcast, him and I chat occasionally. So I've been able to bounce some questions off those guys, but the crazy part is my wife has, like, I would say, got low key interested in watches.
Okay.
I actually should have brought one of her watches in here. She has a watch that arguably blows most of my watches out of the water, I really think. Yeah, she has a Mondane dual time, which dual time, bro. I'll tell you the story about that one day, but I actually found it for her, and it was the first watch that ever showed up, and I was like, man, I wish I was keeping this for myself instead of giving it to her. It's such a cool watch. But so like now she's interested in a tank, but that she's really, you know, she reads and learns about stuff, and we have discussions back and forth. Like, she told me what a sandwich dial is, for example. Like, I was like, what the heck's a sandwich dial? She's like, oh, it's when they put, you know, the dial on top of the other part and it's a sandwich. And I was like, I'm an idiot. I should have known that, but I don't know that. But
watch out for the Apple Watch then, bro. Watch out, because like my wife was great collection.
Yeah.
She says, you know, I think I want an Apple Watch, you know, to keep track of my heart rate. And
so here's the thing. We both had those at one time, and we would have conversations. No, we sold them.
No way.
Because we were like, dude, she started to talk about how it had like no character, and you know, like she's not super flashy, but she does, you know, like she wears glasses, so she cares about what her glasses and what she likes, right? She wants to wear a certain frame style that she likes. The same thing with her clothes, like most of us, you know. But she just talked about how it didn't do anything for her other than that, you know. So she has an ISL 40, the Islander Field watch. She loves that. Okay. She's got the Snoopy and Woodstock Timex.
Yeah.
Yeah, she loves that thing. We're just trying to find, we're trying to find someone that does a mod on that to replace the crystal with sapphire, but we haven't been able to find anybody. What else does she have?
Talk to me later.
Yo, hey, real quick though, if you want to track your heart rate and all that, check this out. All right, this right here, bang, or maybe
get a pulsometer.
Right.
Never use your thumb.
Dial on your Speedmaster.
Got pulsations dial. Yeah.
Never use your thumb.
Never,
it has its own pulse.
Pulse in your thumb, so you got to use.
Yeah.
Oh, but hey, so not to do on a weird dive here, but I did see a bracelet thing. It's like a clasp, and it does track your heart rate and all that stuff.
She's got that. The Amazon one, she got that. And but yes, I mean, so she's like my partner in crime when it comes to watches. She's not, I would say, as into them as I am. But if I bring something up, she has a pretty educated opinion on it. We can talk about it.
Now you're saying partner in crime. Do you really mean enabler?
No, she's not. Like, because
you're lucky.
We're adults, bro. Like, we're adults. She's got her own career. She's got her own job, her own money, and vice versa. And like, if we need carpet, I'm just not going to go out and buy Rolex. We need a carpet. Like, I'm going to buy the carpet, right? That's the responsible thing to do. And but I'm kind of doing like what Casey is I have a plan. Because if I'm being honest, I have enough good stuff right now, you know. And there's some things like I just sold my Lunar Pilot because I don't wear it. It's a great watch. Someone else might as well have it, sell it, you know. It goes to a good home. But there's a couple pieces I know I want that are Grail pieces, and when I get them, I will do the preemptive sell off on a couple of things. I'll have to make some hard choices because
what's a Grail?
Oh man, okay.
Just give us one.
I'm going to eliminate the one because it's falling out of favor. The 925 Black Bay Sterling Silver. Black Bay.
It's not bad.
Oh, in the silver. Okay.
Yeah,
it's not
because you see I got the gray NATO on there.
Yeah.
Almost all my NATOs are gray because I'll tell you guys it'll go with anything, dude. Yeah. It goes with anything.
It's the gray NATO and also it's MOD, man. Come on, you can't beat that.
Yeah. It is just put it on, let it patina, let it do its thing, and and
does that one have the 369 dial as well, or is that just a bronze?
I think that's just a bronze.
Just the bronze. It's got the dot dash.
That thing's beautiful, man. Like,
have you seen one in the metal?
No, but I know it's going to be. I don't even care. Like, I've seen sterling silver, so as long as the sterling silver looks like within a ballpark of sterling silver, I'm going to be good.
Everything that I've seen about it, and I haven't handled one, but I know somebody who has one. And they talk about the slab sides and the thickness of the sides, but if you're into sterling silver, it doesn't matter, because you just got that much more view of it. I'd go that route. I mean, and also everything that I've read and people talk about is like pictures just don't do it justice.
Yeah,
it really doesn't.
That's how I felt about. I have a couple of, and it sounds corny to compare them, but I have a couple of samurais whose dials, they look nice in pictures, but then when you got them in front of your face, you're like, holy smokes, man. Like, these dials are fantastic. So I have a funny feeling like when I do touch that watch, I'm just going to be like, oh.
I love the case they're pretty much the similar case.
Real similar profile.
Dude, it's a good looking watch, man. There's really no.
And you can wear it anywhere, man, with anything. It's just like, you know what I mean? Like, that would be there'd be a 3-watch collection for that. You know what I mean? And, but I think that 925 would be every day, man. That'd be Monday through Friday, every day, sometimes on Saturdays.
Dude, I think that's the dream, man. And I think so Joe kind of brought it up. He has that watch that's dad's watch. I don't have any children yet, but if I had kids who were looking at me, they'd be like, I don't know what the F dad's watch is. Homeboy's got too many, Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's an important thing because, like, my Zen is going nowhere. And I know enough about this thing in a short period of time. Like, when my son becomes an adult and, at a certain point, like, I could hand that thing to him. It's a legit, freaking timepiece, man. And he could wear it. The other day, my nephew came over for, Christmas, and he's in his early 20s. And he's been busting his tail, man. Got, a managerial position. He's actually focused on what he's doing. And I've noticed, I said, hey, you have a watch? He's like, oh no, uncle. I'm like, all right, come here. So I had an SNE 549 Seiko solar powered box and everything. Like, here you go, man. Let's size it to you. Now he's bigger than me now. He's like an inch taller than me. So I didn't even really have to do anything other than a micro adjustment, but he's like, this is beautiful. So I showed him how it worked and everything. I'm like, look, man, you need a watch. And he like texted me a couple of days later. He's like, uncle, I feel classy with this thing on, And I'm like, well, it's nice. It's a nice watch, but you've been working hard, man, and have one, look down on it. And
it's one of those things too, though. It's like, the watch and shoes. Like, you got to have the right shoes. And if you have the right watch, you can make it anywhere.
Well, hey, Jason. So you're a veteran. You've done an extensive amount of time in the military. So first and foremost, on behalf of my co-host, thank you for what you do. And thanks for me personally. Thanks for leading the way. Question, though.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah.
Your time in the military, how has that affected your relationship to watches? And has that an impact on maybe what you're interested in and what you collect now?
Oh, yeah. Great questions. So number one, we'll start with it. What I collect now and how it's impacted me. So I really look for and feel for quality, and I know, like, people joke old school, like weight equals quality, like if you've ever seen the movie Snatch, it's like,
I love that movie.
Yeah. You can hit people, By the way, if no one's seen that movie, great movie.
You got it.
Gosh.
For sure.
Yeah, great movie. Yeah. But that's, understanding being on a ship, I was a ship guy. There's all different kinds of people in the Navy, like in the Army, but I'm a ship guy. And, we joke around, but, people don't realize you're just on a giant metal box, man. It's a giant metal box, and everything on there is metal, and stuff's protruding from, we call bulkheads, stuff's hanging on the bulkheads everywhere. And I'm 6'2", like 255. I've been at least 245 since I graduated high school. I'm not a small guy, and there's plenty of other people that are bigger than me. And walking around, you're always banging into stuff, man. There's not that much room on some of the newer ships to walk around. Some of the older ships had bigger passageways, P-ways and stuff. But so I remember walking around because I had a lot of G-Shocks forever, and just banging the crud out of a G-Shock on a bulkhead or something, man. It's like just hitting your arm, and your arm's more damaged than the watch is. Yeah. Like you look down at the watch and you're like, man, this thing just, your arm's bleeding, like you're cut. But the G-Shock's good. It's got like a little dent in it or a divot in it or something, but the display's fine and everything works. So the way that experience has affected my watch buying is just like, I didn't do it in the beginning, but now if I don't have a physical experience with a certain watch, I'm not going to buy it online. I'm going to go find it and touch it first. You know what I mean?
You have to handle.
Yeah. It's very tactile for me. And I have a bunch of Samurais because it's the first Samurai that I got. I was like, oh, the Samurai case is like.
You got titanium?
No, I want one. One of the first gens. No, yeah. I really want one of those. I have a bunch of 2 gens, but I have an SRPB09, the Blue Lagoon.
Okay.
Shout out to Adrian at Somewhere in Time. He's the one that got
that on like the Razor.
Yeah,
bracelet?
I got that one.
That's killer, dude. I want one of those bracelets.
Yeah,
that's nice.
On the razor wire.
Yeah, so badass.
But the Samurai case just reminds me of a ship. Like I don't know how familiar you guys are with ships, but I was on destroyers, and humble opinion, they're some of the most beautiful ships ever designed. They look like a knife just cutting through the water. They're beautiful. But my experience in the Navy is just, I'm really focused on the build quality. If I can read reviews and people talk about the build quality, I can glean some information from that. And is it purposeful, right? Like, because I've seen some watches, like I get they have a purpose to them, but like I know people love chronographs, but I've kind of fallen out of love with them because it's like I'm not timing anything, bro. Like I'm just not. It's kind of wasted on me,
But
like see, an aesthetic thing.
But when you're talking about your own aesthetic, because that's really what it comes down to. It's like what do I like, and if you've got a criteria of why you like it, that's even better. To be honest, because like okay, I can hone in my collection a little bit, right? I've trolled through your Instagram feed. I made sure not to like anything from more than 2 years ago, because we don't want this to get weird.
Yeah, my pictures weren't that good 2 years ago.
Well, nobody's were, but you've got a really sincere design aesthetic. Your watches are very clean. They're simple is the wrong way to take it, but uncluttered is a really good way to look at it. They're very purpose driven. They're very they're real solid, man. Like
I appreciate it.
You are straight into this tool watch aesthetic without question.
I think one of his criteria,
a great collection.
One of his criteria is it's got to have good loom, because he's got gorgeous loom shots.
Thanks.
Like if you guys don't follow him, go check it out and look at some of these loom shots. They're amazing.
Oh, yeah,
Friday Night Loom Fight, you're in, man.
Yeah. It's So it's funny that the clean aesthetic and stuff. So, Joe, like when I was getting my bachelor's and my master's and stuff, right? It was after I retired, and I realized I was like, because I don't know if you know anybody else that's retired from the military, but I know a lot of people are like, oh man, I'm retiring. I've been wearing this uniform for 20 years. I'm going to dress up all the time. I'm going to wear whatever I want to wear. And I tried that for about 8 days. And I was like, this is ridiculous, man. I'm wasting so much time, like figuring out what I'm going to wear. Like, so when I was doing my bachelor's and my master's, I told my wife, I said, hey babe, I want to go to like Van Heusen. I'm buying gray slacks, black slacks, and I'm buying like blue button-up shirts and gray button-up shirts and black. And that's it. I'm not done. I'm gonna have some brown leather shoes, some black leather shoes, and I'm not thinking about this anymore. And that's pretty much carried professionally the whole time. And when I started to get my watches, I realized that, it's like I want stuff that I can put on in the morning. And if I come home and my wife wants to go to dinner or something, I don't have to think about it. You know, I could just wear my work clothes. I'm dressed professionally and we can go, and my watch looks nice, you know, because I'm kind of I mean, I'm sure Casey can tell you, you know, in the military, you're detail oriented, man. It gets beat into your head, you know, like your uniform is squared away or it's not, you know, and most people don't realize, and it sounds corny, but like the first sign of a lack of morale in a unit is a depreciation, or, you know, a degradation of uniformity and uniform standards. When people don't care about what they look like, they obviously don't care about more. And it's a sign to you as a leader to look at it and be like, hey, you know, what's going on? And that I've carried that on for myself, because when you retire, you don't realize just how much of your day was taken up with that.
Well, with the military too, though, because I know that Mike has a uniform that he wears for work. You know, and even for myself personally, I have a work uniform thing, but you don't have to think about it.
Yeah.
And so I can worry about other stuff now. I got to worry about what watch I'm going to wear. I mean, let's talk about the important things.
Yes.
The collar doesn't matter, but
I have a
strap's got. I
have a work watch, so that takes that. So that's why I get up 20 minutes before I leave the door, because my clothes are done, my watch is done. I just got to make my coffee, and that's it.
The work watch. See, I can't do that. I got to get there.
Well, Jason, that's actually interesting that you bring up that aspect of leadership in the military. It's one of the first lessons I learned. Now, I wasn't even a commissioned officer at that point. I was still in officer candidate school getting the crap hazed out of me. But we did this case study in Vietnam about how this O3, a captain in the Army, had to take over a FOB. And he's change of command. He's taking charge of this company. And everyone's a soup sandwich. The weapons aren't clean. No one's shaving. And the first thing that he did is he cracked the whip and had soldiers shave. And that kind of set the precedence of, hey, look, this is a basic thing. I want you to do this. And after he had their uniforms and their appearance squared away, they started taking the weapons maintenance more seriously. They took other warrior tasks and battle drills more seriously.
Yeah.
It's a very interesting thing.
If you guys are ever interested, there's this great book I read called Imperial Grunts, and it's about special forces and throughout the history of pretty much modern history, and they cover different parts of the world. And they interviewed this one special forces. It's a major or colonel. I can't remember his name, but he was in Southeastern Asia, and they asked him, basically, they're interviewing him, like, who has the best army? Like, if something was going to happen, who could fight? And I want to say he said it was Singapore, but they said, well, why? How come their army's the best? He's like, they're the only people that do their maintenance on their equipment. And the interviewer is like, well, why is it important? And the officer says, you only maintain what you hope to have in the future. And like, you know, I read that, I was still active duty, and it was like my brain melted, dude, in my head. And I was like, and I read that, I read it to my division the next morning, because they did a really good job with their maintenance. I'm like, look, you guys understand why you do a good job. You care about yourself, you take care of yourself, you do a good job, you take care of each other, you take care of your stuff. And it's true, man. Like, you know, like, I give a crud what I look like when I get ready to go in the morning to go to work, because I want to, you know, do good stuff. And these, it sounds silly, but they help. You know what I mean? Like I know, like when I wear this, I'm like, I know I got a Xenon, baby. I got my Xenon. It's German excellence, you know, with the Swiss movement, but you know, but it's wonderful, man. Like, and it's cool. And the dream is that some rando is going to walk by and be like, oh man, is that a Zen 105? It's never going to happen. It's never going to happen, but it'd be cool if it did.
Yeah.
Well, hey, so before we go, I don't know, I'm probably going to chop this out, but I just wanted to share the nerdiness with you there. This is the very few models I have left.
Yeah, a Dread.
Yeah, dude. And I didn't really play the game. I just like the characters, so I can't speak to that. But
I have 6 of those guys painted, 6 Dreadnoughts. So,
bro, those are mad expensive. Like, just the whole hobby itself is an expensive hobby.
It is. I eBayed the heck out of a lot of it, though.
So you run a blog website called watchrolling.com. Can you tell us a little more about that?
Oh, yeah. So I have a watch blog, like Casey said, watchrolling.com. And the whole, now it's really new. I've been writing an article a week since October. And the whole premise behind it is, you know, I'm a veteran and a new watch collector. So the whole idea of the watch blog is to help out both those people. So primarily I have one section that's it's veteran related resources. So I've pulled a lot of links from the VA, the Veteran Watchmakers Initiative, which we could talk about in a little bit. I highlighted them. I've also highlighted stuff like the Department of Labor's ONET website, which basically there's a military crosswalk section where you can put in your MOS or your naval, your NECs, and it will give you basically what we call a job duty task analysis. It'll automatically pull up on the screen and tell you what your job is, what civilian jobs relate to that, what duties, tasks relate to that. So when you're writing your resume, for example, you can actually capture the work that you've done, because a lot of military people, when they get out, they have a real hard time transitioning their military verbiage to civilian verbiage.
Yeah.
So I have a whole section for veteran resources like that. And I try to update that once a month. I make sure the links are good and make sure if I had some new resources, I highlight them on there. And then I just have a standard watch blog where I write articles. The goal was to stay below 500 words, but I'm exceeding that. I guess I'm a pretty natural writer in some instances. But I've done stuff like broken down, crystal types, different type of movements, quartz and automatic, but other stuff like how to find watches that are sold literally by Amazon and not third-party sellers on Amazon. I have a whole article on there about that, because you can manipulate Amazon to where you only see the watches sold by Amazon.com from them proper, and not like, Steve's Watch Emporium out of New Jersey via Amazon. And I didn't realize a lot of people didn't know that. I got a lot of feedback on that article. It's like, oh, thanks, man, I didn't know that. And so, and that's the gist of the website. So I pump out an article every week. Funny enough, I like the writing, but I noticed that my structure needed to be a little bit better as far as, like a way going forward. So come in March, I'm going to submit my first podcast. It's going to be the watchrolling.com podcast. And at that point, the podcast show notes are going to be my articles with a little more context in there. Yeah. I can kill two birds with one stone with that. And, the show is going to be pretty much a one-man show, because I think that'll be a little bit easier for me, because you can tell I don't have any problem running my mouth. And if I have bullet points, I can talk for days. And then with
the coordination is always a difficult thing, right? Trying to figure out when you can record all that sort of stuff.
And I've listened to a lot of the people I know that have podcasts where they're like, if you can, and a couple of people that have pretty good podcasts have told me like, hey, we think you could do one by yourself. You'd be good. I'll do the occasional interview. Like I love to interview Casey on there because, he's active duty. He's got a watch collection. You guys, I mean, and that's the whole point of the website to me is like, Joe, you told me you had family members that are in the military, right? So if I have this blog with veterans resources that people don't know about, it's not just helping a fellow veteran. It could be helping the family member of a veteran, because sometimes people don't know how much stuff's out there. I mean, each state has a veteran affairs office, not to mention the federal Veterans Affairs Office, so if I go deep dive and find something cool, put it on there, highlight it in the article, then talk about it on the podcast for a minute, put the links down in the thing. Maybe someone could help someone in their family find a resource they didn't know was available to them.
Well, absolutely. See, that's the thing in the military. I feel like there's 1,001 ways to get something done, but no one's going to effing tell you about it.
Yeah.
And so then you miss out. I'm trying to think what recently happened to me. Oh, yeah, commissioning. The Army was going to force me into being an ordnance officer, which is great and all. No offense to an ordnance officer out there, but I didn't want to do like I was an engineer before, and I'm trying to be a combat engineer. I'm trying to build and fight, not read and write. So I had to get an 06 involved to be able to, go back to the Corps of Engineers. And there was like 3 different avenues of approach I could have taken to accomplish that, but no one was going to coach me on that. I had to figure that out myself.
Yeah. And that's the thing, it's like, I just want to be able to help. If I'm going to do something I find interesting, I want to find the angle to help, you know what I mean? The best I can. And, because I love the Navy, man. Like if I'm being honest about it, it helped me so much in life, and my ride wasn't perfect, but I don't know where I'd be if I'm being honest without that, so much structure, so much opportunity, that if I can help fellow veterans or even anyone that's related to a veteran or even a new watch collector, like, not go buy a Fossil when they could buy, a Belova or, there's so much other stuff they can get, and it would be a cool little piece. And, they actually know the name of the movement. It just doesn't say Japanese movement on there.
Right.
You can help them out, That's what I would like to do.
Are you the sole writer of your blog, or do you have contributors?
Just me.
It's just you.
Me. Yeah.
Do you plan on having contributors, or are you just going to keep it a one-man show?
I guess I could. I wouldn't be adverse to that. I haven't really thought, sounds horrible. I haven't really thought that far down the road.
And I ask because you say that your point of view is from both a veteran and a new watch collector. So I just didn't know if you wanted to invite somebody in, if they had to share that same perspective, or if you would get an outside perspective, or a different one. Or
that is a great question, Mike, that I have not thought about.
He's going to get back to you on that.
But I will. I mean, I wouldn't be adverse to it. Like, I've actually talked to my wife, hey, I think it'd be great to have an article from you once in a while. And she's going to be on the podcast, as a contributor, because
she also lives in the house. So it's kind of hard.
Well, I mean, how many times you guys see stuff about watches and they never talk about women? Or, you know what I mean? Like, and she's, dude, she's way smarter than me, bro. She gets this watch stuff way, like the technical stuff, like, like I'll be staring at the picture for it takes me 10 minutes and she gets it. She's like, no, this does this does that. And I'm just like, yeah, that's why, you're smarter than me. But
that's why it'd be cool works.
I think it'd be good to have her perspective on it, because a lot of times, I don't hear that, and or she brings like a point from an angle that I never even considered, and it's pretty good stuff. So that'd be nice. But,
I guess you could also run like a 2 persona thing, like a Marshall Mathers Eminem thing. You could have your new watch guy and the E7 as the other guy comes in.
Oh man, I wish I could write. I might be able to do an article from old me. And
you got to put on the right hat.
Back in the day, I got it.
The hat helps.
I got the cover. Yeah, I could do it. Slap that bad boy on. But yeah.
Cool. Well, so where are you trying to go with this? Like, do you have a particular goal, end state with the?
So he just said he hadn't thought that far ahead.
Well, once the podcast starts back up, I think a lot of stuff's gonna. I mean, I just take a look at the times, man. Like, everybody's got a podcast or a YouTube channel, and
some people have both.
And if you have a script, bro, you're writing your article. At that point. So I just write my articles in script format. I do the podcast. I have and then I dump the show notes as an article and give you a little more context if you want to be a subscriber, which is free. You just register. So I make sure crazy people, because I have another section that I'm going to launch in April called A Veteran and Their Watch. And I've really wanted to get this right. So I haven't rushed to getting this done, but I have some buddies that are veterans that have had, like, I got one buddy, the first one up. He went to boot camp in 2003. He bought this watch when he graduated boot camp, and he still has it. So it's been on multiple deployments. Nice. It's been at the birth of his kids.
And this thing, cool stories.
Yeah. And so that'll be an interview on the website, on the podcast, with the show notes and the picture of the watch. And I'm just going to do one picture, bro. Like, one picture of this thing, like, close up, beat to what. But, unless that's like a cool case back or something, then maybe I'll flip it around and get two sides. But and it tells their story, you know what I mean? And I have a couple of other people lined up after him. So it's going to be a little hodgepodge. I'll have that. And ultimately, I would just like to have a good show. I could put out a show every week, keep it to about 30 minutes so people on their commute can listen to it, and still focus on the show, the same areas I'm focusing on in the blog, and just go there. And if I ever ended up getting someone else to write, I mean, the thing is, I don't know if I'm ever going to make any money off this. You know what I mean? Like, okay. I already built a merch store in case I want to release it, but I want to make sure, well, I have a shirt design already out there, but I want to make sure that I can donate part of that t-shirt revenue, like the VWI. Like, they already get donations from much bigger people than me, but I really would like to give back, because, I mean, as a guy who retired and had some injuries and stuff, it's hard, man. Like, I was a firefighter for 20 years, and when you get so injured that you can't be a firefighter anymore, you have to reinvent yourself. You know what I mean? And I know there's people that got it way worse than I do. I got it pretty, bad, but there's people out there like, because that's a dirty little secret. You don't about the military. Sometimes your job doesn't always line up with anything out there. You know,
it's hard because like you earned a specific set of skills designed in defense, and that's not a civilian thing.
Yeah. When I retired, I was 38 with damaged legs, bro. I can't be a firefighter. You know what I mean? Can't do that. So I had to, quickly ascertain what else I could do, and which is cool. And but not everybody, if they don't have the help, because I had a little bit of help. So I just really want to help and go forward, keep the show going, do cool interviews with people like you guys, whether it's on your guys' podcast or on my podcast, because I feel like in the watch community, that's the part that makes the watch community so cool, man, is because there's so many different people coming from so many different areas. And then like if I hear Joe talk about, like if I ever got to talk to you about your watch collection, there's gonna be so many things, dude, that I never even thought of. Like when Mike asked me that question,
it's about that
like,
perspective, and because we have, and it's the same thing that sort of launched how we discuss stuff. Because I wouldn't have met Mike or Casey at all.
Yeah,
I'm 3,000 miles away, man. There's no way we're going to run into each other.
Yeah.
However, we have this common interest.
Yeah.
But what's cool though is
from a totally different angle, but it's so much fun, dude. It's so
and
much
that's and Joe and I are very heavy into Bulova collections, yet we're coming at it from two different angles.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I sought those guys out because of that. I was really into Bulova Caravel, but weirdly enough, my tastes have changed just as we started this show. Now I've got freaking stupid Rolex on the brain.
He's evolved.
Yeah. I thought for a second he meant literally when this show started. But I know now that he
today,
meant
just
the
today.
overall show. Yeah, the overall show. I was like, man, it's pretty intense.
He's really self-actualized, man. He's been doing a lot of work and he's been putting in the time.
Yeah, man.
Hey guys, so yeah, we're gonna talk about the Veterans Watchmakers Initiative, my tour I did up there on January 6th. I don't have any notes in front of me, but I have a pretty good memory. So there's a school up in Odessa, Delaware called the Veterans Watchmakers Initiative. And the cool part about this thing is it was originally, now I'm paraphrasing a lot here. I have an article on my website, Veterans Watchmakers Initiative. Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. I really tried to do a good job of capturing. It was one of those things where I think that thing's like 1,800 words. Like I was like, I could probably go to like 5,000 words in this thing, but no one's going to read it. But the school was started post World War II by Joseph P. Bulova, of all people. And he had, he wanted a course to teach disabled veterans how to build watches. And he had that course for an awful long time. And it went to the 90s, I think. And it kind of fell out. And the current director revived it, got some funding. And they basically have a watch technician course and a watchmaker's course. And it's 6 weeks for the watch technician course that qualifies you to work on any quartz watch. And then a 16-month watchmaker course that basically you make watches, quartz, automatic, mechanical, straight up. The courses are all free for disabled veterans. You apply, they accept it. The only thing that's not free is the travel there, but they even stated that they can work with local veterans organizations for the veterans area, in the veterans area, to help provide travel. Room and board is free for the veteran. Food is free, right?
That's
and then the
nuts.
local community.
Is this with the VA? Not the VA, but freaking GI Bill?
No.
No, it's separate entirely. It's completely privately funded too.
Yes, privately funded. And I mean, bro, they got like, I always get like, it's not LVMH. I'm almost positive they've had funding support from the Richemont Group. I mean, dude, Citizen, Accutron. I mean, you name it, they've had funding supported. So that's what I was saying. Like, if I sell T-shirts, I'm going to donate money, but I'm probably doing like a speck on the wall donations, right? But it'll still help.
But every little bit helps though. And not to break your train of thought, but I was going to mention this a little in a minute, but since you brought it up, they do have a section where you can go and donate. And I think I want to go too, because I've heard of it. I never really read much about it. I am going to definitely look more into it, just, from this conversation. I think it's a real cool thing. And even if it's a small donation, every little bit helps. It really does.
Yeah. I mean, I donated $100 before I went up there to do the interview, because I want, the tour, because I wanted to know I'm serious, man. Like, and I got some buddies of mine that want to go up there. They're also veterans, and we're just going to volunteer like on a weekend, go up on a Friday night, stay somewhere and then go in and help volunteer on a Saturday, because they're building lodging. They already have some lodging for veterans that come, but they're redoing some. They have like a warehouse that was donated by Vortic, the Vortic watches. They have a whole warehouse that Vortic watches donated. It's going to be a service center. So some of the people that graduated from the first class are being hired to be service technicians there. So there's a chance, excuse me. They told me a story. There's a gentleman from the first watchmaker class that graduated. Again, I'm paraphrasing. Tiffany's in New York called and said, "Hey, do you have someone you recommend?" They recommended this guy. Tiffany's hired him.
Wow.
Disabled veteran hired by Tiffany's as a watchmaker.
Yeah, and he's the guy that stamped Tiffany's on the 5711.
Yeah, so but you got to think about how that guy's life changed. You know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah.
The thing that's so amazing about, like, you look at what that's doing, and so, okay, I'm a disabled veteran. My life has changed because I'm out of the military. My life has changed because I'm disabled. But what am I going to do? Watchmaker. There's a whole lot there, man. There's a whole lot there, and it's not exactly a dying art, but like, where are you going to learn it? There's 4 schools in the U.S., something like that.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of opportunity.
I can only imagine, and I really haven't faced it like that, but the despair that people must feel leaving the military and not really knowing what you're going to do to keep the lights on.
Yeah. Oh, bro, yeah, I know exactly. Trust me, man.
And this is something that requires a lot of focus, and to be able to put that focus somewhere, that intently, that's got to make all the difference in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing that's amazing too, though, like, looking at it from a satisfaction standpoint, it's like, okay, watch comes in, it doesn't work. Watch leaves, it works.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I know what I'm doing. I know when I'm done. And that you don't get that kind of thing in a lot of other occupations, and I think that's an important notice to bring in, because it fits in with a lot of there's a type of personality, and it just works well. It really works well. And so if somebody can fall into that through this the Watchmakers Initiative or any of the other avenues that they have the access to, it's a great program.
Yeah, when they graduate the watchmakers course, bro, like they build watches, and then if my memory serves me correct, they keep the watches they build.
You got the school piece.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like think about, man, I can't imagine, because I'm not very mechanically inclined. I'm not like a builder by, naturally. I have tons of friends that are, and I'm always impressed by the stuff they do. To be able to take something and make it actually work is pretty serious, man. And I think it's pretty affirming and helpful with spirit. Like, like Casey said, maybe it's a bad situation when you leave, but you're able to take something, do something, and change the course of your life for better.
Yeah.
I think it's an important thing.
So as a part of the Bulava's watchmaking school, I know that they've released a special watch, and you happen to have one. Can you walk us through that?
Oh, yes. I have the Bulova Hack Watch, the Veterans Watchmakers Initiative. I'm sorry for my camera just does not like to focus. It's got
we'll put a picture up for sure.
Yeah, glass. I'll take some good pictures of this for you too.
Oh man. What uniform are they wearing? Can you like
they look like DCUs, man, to me.
Okay.
The newer one, maybe DCUs, maybe ACUs. It's an olive green. Well, because there's been a lot of uniform changes in the last.
No. It's not digital. That's where we're going.
Yeah, is it digi? I don't know. I don't think it's digi. But beautiful watch, man. It's got the 24-hour on the inside, 12 hours on the outside. Just a beautiful piece, and I'll make sure I put some pictures up there.
And so a portion of that goes like to the portion of that goes to the Watchmakers Initiative, right?
Yep.
So a portion of all the sales from that watch, that whole series, will go back to help support the new watchmakers coming through.
Yep.
It's a copy of like the A17, the sort of Korea era.
Yeah. It's beautiful,
nice.
Man.
Are those limited?
Clean. Yeah, it's real hard to find them. It sounds crazy, man, but I found it on Walmart.com.
What?
Like, I'm not even kidding. I was like, I'm gonna find this thing. And the thing is, it's not even for me. I'm not wearing it. I have a buddy of mine who's retired Navy, and so on watchrolling.com, we're going to do watch previews. That's a watch that just comes in. I'll preview it. I'll give you my thoughts on the watch, but I believe a watch review should be done by actually wearing the watch for a while and seeing how it handles situations and stuff like that. So this is going to go to a buddy of mine after I take the pictures of it, and he's going to wear it for about 6 months. I got a whole series of questions for him to answer. And then what we'll do is we'll do an interview with him. And if we can do a Zoom call or something, but just get his thoughts on the watch and the different stuff that he did. And he's a pretty outdoorsy guy. So I felt like for him, the field, like, he's not diving or anything, but he's out like chopping down trees and stuff. So I felt like
field watch.
That's a cool way to do a review.
Yeah. I want to, because I want to be able to, you know, he's a rugged bro, dude, man. Like I'm telling you, like, you know, builds his own chicken coops and stuff. Like, you know, I'm from the city. We don't do that stuff. So it'd be nice to have someone, and I think the aesthetic of it matches his personality. He's a really straightforward dude, you know what I mean? And just gets stuff done and works hard. So I think it'd be a good watch for him because he didn't have one either. He has, like, you know, like most military guys, a G-Shock or something. But I was like, and I asked him, I said, do you have something that's a little different? He's like, no. I'm like, okay, here's the plan. And so I have one buddy that's wearing one right now that he's about 2 months away from being done. I'll do my review on that one. And then my other buddy, who's actually down in Florida, he was a Marine. He has a field watch that I scored from a micro brand, and he's about probably 3 months away from doing the review.
Nice.
So I just want him to, you know, and we'll talk about what jobs they do currently and stuff like that. But this is a good piece for a good cause.
Well, hey, Jason. So I really appreciated your time. You've got a kick-ass collection and an awesome website. How can people get in contact with you?
They can contact me at my Instagram, WatchRolling at Instagram. And I have watchrolling.com, and my email is watchrolling@admin.com. And you can get a hold of me there if you have anything you need to talk to me about. That's it.
And all your veterans links, it's all through the watchrolling.com.
Oh blog. Yeah, there's a section that says veterans resources right there on the header or on the banner, and you can just click on it and they're all right there. And I have everything hyperlinked, and it'll just open on a new page, so you don't have to, you know, you won't lose the page you're on. You'll go to the new page. And I add stuff to that like once a month. The first thing I do is I go through and vet it and make sure that everything's still current, and then I just add new stuff.
Very cool.
Yep. Thank you.
So what about us, Mike?
All right. So we are the Spring Bar Podcast. You can find us on Instagram at the Spring Bar Podcast. You can email us, thespringbarpodcast@gmail.com. Personally, I am 120 clicks, all one word, spelled out 120 clicks. Joe?
I am Watch Taylor Youth at Watch Taylor Youth. KC.
I'm time_hack1636. And I have a neglected YouTube channel, which is Time Hack. Bam. Joe, what about those meetups that we need to go plug?
So if you would like for us to help promote any of your watch meetups or any get-togethers, anything along those lines, you can email us at thespringbarpodcast@gmail.com. And we would also love to see any of your watch shots or drink shots, and you can hashtag us at the Spring Bar Podcast as well. So thank you very much.
And those meetups get posted on our Instagram stories every Wednesday, so be on the lookout for those.
Well, all right, guys. I appreciate you guys coming by. You can't stay here. You don't have to go home. Honestly, wherever you go is up to you. Have a great rest of your night. Bye.
Cheers.
Cheers. I'm empty.